We are now joined by Ric Grenell calling us from Albania, but we're really going to keep this discussion going about the current whistleblower situation. And Ric, it seems like each week we're seeing more and more corruption out of the FBI and out of the IRS. And now with these new disclosures, and we have agents trying to do the right thing, they're getting threatened with criminal investigations. I have a feeling you have some thoughts.
Yeah, Logan, I am calling from Tirana, Albania, a great NATO ally of ours. And I would say that everyone who is concerned about what's happening in the United States is talking about this issue. Here in Albania, I've been asked about what's going on with the FBI. Can they be trusted? And I think that what you have to understand is that we were the country that had an intelligence service that was impeccable and above reproach. And what we're finding out is that that is not true. There are individuals at the top of the FBI, at the top of intelligence agencies that have acted very inappropriately by being partisan. And that's how countries fall. This is a terrible situation. And we are literally unable to talk about other countries being partisan or attacking the rule of law when we do it ourselves. And so there's a big concern. And I hope that people like Avril Haines, who's the Director of National Intelligence, taking this very seriously and trying to clean up the corruption by firing individuals.
Ric, you bring up that it seems widespread and that the world is watching. One of the concerns we have is that each time that one of these agencies, whether it be the IRS, the FBI, the ODNI, whenever some sort of disparate treatment is exposed of the way they're treating people on the left versus the right, they always seem to say, oh, thanks for bringing that to our attention. We've cleaned it up. But each week we get new revelations that it continues and it's much worse than we thought. We need Congress to clean this up. Can they get it done?
Certainly there are people who want to get it done, but there's not enough. There are not enough politicians that are focused on this. You ask any immigrant to the United States, any first or second generation immigrant, and they will tell you this is such a serious problem. Now, there's a whole bunch of people who have been in the United States for 4, 5, 6 generations who ignore this, who think, oh, well, they just clean it up and they move on. But those individuals who came from other countries, who know the weaponization of the intelligence agencies and what it can do, are fearful. We have too many people in Washington, whether they're politicians or reporters, who are extremely dismissive. That FBI statement saying this happened and we've already cleaned it up, so go about your business, was so offensive to people who are really nervous. And I'll finish with this. What people like Avril Haines need to realize that she has on her hands an incredible credibility problem for the intelligence agencies. Anyone who works in an intel agency needs to understand this is a crisis of credibility for them. If they don't clean this up, then the American people will continue to not have faith in these institutions, and we will spiral out of control. It is a literally red alert to clean this up, and we need to see action.
Yeah, absolutely, Ric. I think that's one of the, if you're following politics, you may have watched the Tim Scott announcements yesterday. One of his big statements was, America is not in decline. And to be honest, like the guy, I think he could be a great person to be involved in the from the bigger scale. But when you have these situations, Will, and you hear America's not in decline, it's not a nation in decline, but we know what's going on with the IRS. We know what's going on with the FBI. We know what's going on with the CIA. And then, Ric, we point to you and we go, okay, we're going to file a new lawsuit like we did on Friday because of the treatment that the left gets compared to treatment like, I don't know, someone specific, like Ric Grenell got, where all of his records are being brought forward. And we're going to take a new approach to that as a First Amendment violation. And I have a feeling I feel like you have something to say about it because we didn't get to talk to you about that. Something we brought up on the show just the other day. But do you think it's important angle to bring forward right now to say, you know what, this is no longer about, it's not about transparency. It's about the First Amendment.
Yeah, look, first let's start with, Tim Scott. I couldn't be more proud to have somebody like Tim Scott running for president. He just is a great example in Washington, D.C., somebody who has just brought common sense. I, of course, think that Donald Trump is our best choice, but I certainly am proud of the fact that somebody like Tim Scott is courageous enough to get in and run and articulate a campaign. We need more people like that in the Senate. What I would say is I'm just so thankful for ACLJ for once again stepping up on, really what happened to me and what happened to others. My emails were quickly turned over from the State Department when, far left organizations and outlets ask for them. It's just a double standard. As you know, Logan, we literally have years where we go as conservatives asking for transparency on certain things, and we're just told to go pound sand. And what happened with me is they start turning over my emails within 6 months of me leaving. They never told me. They never informed me. They just started turning over all my emails. Now, lucky enough, I had been in government a long period of time where I knew, tried to do everything in person. Don't put any of the machinations of the process in writing, and that way will save you. But the point is, we want transparency, but we also want fairness. And this is absolutely a system that is two-tiered. And whether it's with FOIA requests or with the IRS or with judicial prosecutions, we know we have a problem in America.
Rick, I wanted to turn here finally to the war in Ukraine, and that something you've been concerned about a long time and have said on this broadcast before is the fact that it seems that, especially through our State Department, but also through the Department of Defense, is that we continue to fund through munitions and different armaments to Ukraine to continue this war, but you're missing the key component of diplomacy to bring an end to it. We even heard in the town hall how Donald Trump just said, I just want to see people stop dying. And that doesn't seem to be the tactic of this administration. Yesterday, President Biden said that we will begin training Ukrainian members of the Ukrainian Air Force in how to use F-16s. This has been a push a long time that he had resisted, but now seems that the aid that we'll be providing will take a new level in the form of F-16s in the near future with that training. And also the fact that the Department of Defense said, hey, we overcounted how much that aid was worth by $3 billion. So we've got an extra $3 billion on our tab we can just send over thanks to Congress. What's your take on this as it goes into this second year of war over there?
Look, I worked at the State Department for 12 years. I am somebody who really cares deeply about diplomacy, and I'm all for having a strong military. I think having a very tough military reaction and quick response is good, but you first got to try the diplomatic angle. You got to have the State Department there. And the State Department has just been shoved to the side. I mean, Anthony Blinken hasn't been able to come up with a single peace deal, no even draft, no ideas. The Chinese have put forward a pretty good starting point. Even Zelensky himself, the Ukrainian leader, complimented the Chinese draft peace plan because it talked about territorial integrity for Ukraine, meaning they need to keep all of their land. And so this is a basis that we should have been able to start on. I'm disappointed that the Americans didn't do it first. This is the role of the State Department, but it's quite embarrassing to see the State Department shoved aside during the Biden administration.
Absolutely. Thanks, Rick. Senior Advisor for National Security and Foreign Policy, Ric Grenell, joins the team here at the ACLJ a few years ago and has been providing incredible content to us each and every week. And Rick is a world traveler, so I'm sure the next time we catch up with him, who knows where he'll be, but we'll do that later on this week. Thanks, Rick.